Hi, I'm Vicki Westling here with City Speaks. City Speaks is a show that's brought to you by Mayor Wilfred Rosas for the residents of the city of Dunkirk and the surrounding communities to let you know what's happening in your area, in your city, and in your county. And today, the person most qualified to talk to us about what's happening in our county is our Chautauqua County Executive, PJ Wendel. And PJ, I am so happy to have you here. I know it's been a struggle and a scheduling conflict, but we're here now.
Yep.
So welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, you know, and I know you're busy, so we really do appreciate you taking time out to see us. There is a lot happening in our county. You never have time to stop. And of course, now we're just getting ready to leave phase 2. Hopefully we're going to get into phase 3. Tell me a little bit, what does phase 3, what is it going to consist of? What are the new businesses or the new services that are going to be impacted with that?
Well, phase 3 definitely are going to be indoor dining. We're looking at a 50% capacity. They're looking for single-use items. So if you're a dishwasher at a restaurant, you won't do a lot of dishes at first. They're looking at, again, single-use, whether it's paper products, plastic utensils. I know a lot of establishments that have opened now are serving in to-go boxes, so it's helping reduce that need for washing and reusing utensils. But along with indoor dining, it's 50% capacity, not limiting tables up to 10 people, which is really good, for getting that economy moving back again. I know a lot of people like to go out and get waited on, so the other piece is our local small restaurants that really need to get back open and need to get that that
right.
economy moving again. The next place would be, tanning salons, waxing, tattoos, massage therapy. Those are the other personal service items that will be opening up. So, we ask, and for those businesses that have not seen themselves anywhere yet, and I know fitness centers and gyms, health clubs are that area that's kind of in limbo right now. We don't see them anywhere exactly specific. So I'm telling everyone that's reaching out, I am pushing for them to open. I feel their industry creates a lot of sanitation. They're clean. They know how to socially distant. That's why people like to go and work out. You don't have people on top of one another. So I feel the industry itself, in talking to people like Ross Conti from Darwin's, Greg Kraft from up here in northern Chautauqua, they're really excited. They've changed their model. They have a plan ready to go. They just want to get that that economy moving again. So I'm telling everyone, if you don't see your business yet in phase 3, be prepared, because it might happen. I'm pushing for fitness centers. I put a request in for pools yesterday, and it came out, and I know it wasn't because of my request, but if you continue to ask these questions, the information does get there, and the regions have an impact on what the governor finally makes as a decision.
And here regionally, we're doing well. Yep. How many cases do we have right now?
Today we have 13 active cases in Chautauqua County, and that's really, we did see a peak up to 21 or 23 active cases. We've had 105 total cases in Chautauqua County, so those numbers really are what we're looking at. Only 12 people out of 126,000 people are infected with COVID-19 right now, so it's a relatively low number. The testing has increased exponentially. Just as a matter of fact, from yesterday's numbers of 6,600 today, we've increased that to 7,800 negative tests have come back. So we're looking at almost 1,200 negative tests coming back to the county and no positive tests in that same time. So the prevalence has remained low, and those statistics are, really unique to our county. And we've been saying this all along, whether it's through our social distancing, whether it's through, we don't know yet because it is a novel virus. There are a lot of unknowns with it. So we're not sure exactly what's working, but it is working. Yesterday's numbers were 105 cases out of 6,600 total tests. Now we're at, and that was like 1.3. So I think our prevalence is now lower than that right now when you look at 105 out of 7,800 tests, almost 8,000
Now,
tests.
even when we get into phase 3, we're still going to need to practice social distancing. Yep. And of course, whenever we're out, there could be masks. We're still going to be using the hand sanitizers, all of those sorts of things as well. And now this entire pandemic, if you will, has really taken a bite out of our economy.
Yes. It has.
What has happened to our economy? And I know that there's some federal funds, some state funds. Are those being passed on to our county and to our municipalities?
As of right now, they're not. They're why they're being held up, we're not sure. There has been money that's been sent to the state government. That money has not been released yet to the counties. That's where it's needed the most. I know the second, or I forget actually what number federal stimulus it is, but that's geared more towards our local municipalities of getting those reimbursements back. Statistically, I know our sales tax revenue is the one revenue we're looking at closely. Last month, that number was 36% less than what it was this time last year. This past week, we received our next installment or payment of our sales tax revenue. That's 33% less than what it was last year. Still down, but it's come up 3%, and that really, we haven't seen the influx of restaurants and retail. So I'm very confident, and so is my finance team, that that number, instead of a bell curve, we're more likely to see a U curve, and that steady or sharp increase in our economy is out there. If you look at the incentives for automakers that are looking at 84 months, 0% financing on automobiles, automobile sales are big in Chautauqua County. That is a big driver for our sales tax revenue. So if those incentives continue, we're hoping that we see a big turnaround in our economy. But I'm very confident that we are starting to get out and spend money. The economy hasn't collapsed. If we look, a lot of things are likened to the Depression. There hasn't been a decline of Wall Street or a collapse. The banking industry is still there. We've just stopped economy. We've stopped the flow of money, have turned it off like a water faucet. Now we're turning it back on, and I'm very confident that we're going to see that resurgence. There may be some that say, no, it might take a while, but I think people want to get out. They want to purchase those things and those items that maybe they've been saving up for. And, quite frankly, people haven't been able to get out and spend money, so it's been good for people's pocketbooks. I know a lot of people have said, I look at my bank account, wow, I didn't realize, whether you're not going out to dinner, you're not going out and recreating, other things people are doing. Right. So, again, I think it's interesting, and I firmly believe we're going to see an increase in spending here to generate our economy.
And now one of the things we talk about people's pocketbooks, you have people, the county has employees who are on furlough. Mm-hmm. Explain what that is, and how has that helped the county, and how's that helping the individual?
Well, one of the things we looked at, and we first discussed even offering a furlough, and the difference between the furlough and the layoff is, with the furlough, we still are paying for their health insurance, so they're still county employees, they still have their health insurance. And what we were looking at, and the time frame was July 31st. And the reason that was taken into consideration is because the unemployment bonus or stimulus of $600 a week was available through July 31st. So we wanted to capitalize on that for our employees, that if they were to take the furlough, that money would still be there for them and make it a little bit easier for them as they made that decision. I can't say enough about our employees. They've done a tremendous job by helping the county and helping the residents of Chautauqua County. But by doing that, that's limited, our spending. We've cut our spending. With an initial letter I sent out, I was looking to cut our local share 15 to 20%. We came in below that, but we made a $4.1 million amendment to our budget, reduced spending, reduced cost. Some things, did take a hit, but those were things that we could manage as we move through. No critical services were in jeopardy at that point. So what we're looking at now, moving forward, are the furloughs. Those will be enacted till July 31st. With the intent is to bring all of our employees back August 1st and get things rolling again. One of the departments that has the most furloughed employees is our DPF, and we just got word this week that our CHIPS funding, our extreme weather conditions funding, and other road monies have been granted. We're waiting for an official letter. They said that number could be as much as 20% less than what we anticipated, so that's what we're looking at. We're going to be more conservative. We're going to drop that number down just a little bit more, but we're waiting for those funds to come in, and when they do, then we're going to bring our staff back and get to the infrastructure.
Now, your DPF, is that your Department of Public Facilities?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all of our road crew and the maintenance road
because
maintenance
that's
people.
hurting everywhere.
Yeah.
That's hurting everywhere, and of course, and that's what people see.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Even here in Dunkirk, we see this, and we say we need our roads repaired, we need our trash picked up, we need more public works employees, and so and it's real. It's a definite need. Now, so that will end on July 31st. They'll come back August 1st. How does that? Will they all then be considered essential workers?
Well, it's an interesting question because we don't know exactly how they're going to label it. Right now, at the end of the month, is the 50% rule for non-essential county, or government employees.
The end of June.
The end of June, yeah. We believe that'll stop. Some places have brought people back, and again, as I've talked to town supervisors and village mayors and city mayors, however they have designated their employees, if they designate their employees are essential, for example, once construction was allowed in phase 1, code enforcement, building, and the clerks started to come back to issue building permits and review plans, etc. Those are now essential where they wouldn't have been when we first went into our pause. So some villages and towns have brought people back at a larger rate than others, and again, just based on the need and necessity in those towns and villages. We are going to start to bring our county workforce back as soon as we get the clearance and the lift of that governmental pause right now of 50%. There's reports that some places have in other counties they've come back 100%. We haven't seen that yet, but towns and villages are starting to bring people back incrementally, and the county is working on a plan. We have a planning team that's been established. We're reviewing. Each department will be submitting a opening plan for us, looking at the sanitation requirements, the Forward New York guidelines, and the health department guidelines. So we're looking at everything. We're ready to move forward and getting county government back open. But realistically, that furlough was done to help alleviate some of this financial stress we have. And I can't say enough. Our employees really came through big for us, and they did a great job. And I think at this point they thought of the residents of Chautauqua County before they thought of themselves. And I think I can't say enough and how pleased I am for everything they've done.
And I think that's great. And I know that you work throughout with all the different mayors and all the different town supervisors and superintendents. So I think that's great. One of the things that's been happening throughout our country and the world even is all because of the riots that have been happening elsewhere. We've not had those. We've had very peaceful demonstrations dealing with the issue of Black Lives Matter, dealing with the issue of equality and fairness, and you've been present at some of those. We had one here recently. Tell me, what do you think has made the difference here in Chautauqua County for our residents and for those who are demonstrating here locally as opposed to the rest of the world who, breaking up storefronts?
Well, our residents, I said it on Saturday, our residents really should be a model for other communities. What we have done is come together peacefully. Again, it's not without frustration, it's not without anger, it's not without long-term concern for the issues that are facing us. But we've done it in a very respectable manner, and I've said this before, violence begets violence and peace begets peace. And people want to see peaceful change. They're doing it in a manner where it's reflective of understanding and mutual respect for one another. I can't say enough. I've known Chief Ortolano for many years. A significant part is Mayor Rosas' experience in law enforcement, so he brings a tremendous experience to the table. So does Chief Ortolano and all of our police chiefs throughout Chautauqua County. As a member of the Police Chiefs Association, I meet frequently with these gentlemen before I was ever county executive, and the dialogue they have and the concern they have for communities and making sure things are done the right way. So the dialogue is taking place, but it's done in a manner where we sit down and talk. You are going to get further by talking than you are yelling. It goes back to, an ounce of sugar beats a, pound of salt any day. And I think, although the discussions are uncomfortable in some cases, and they're going to be, but people are doing it in a way that reflects mutual respect and a way to get progress as opposed to just yelling at one another as to what we need to do to change.
And you mentioned our police chief, Chief Ortolano. I cannot say enough about this man. He does the night out every year, and he is right out there in the community. It is to see him. He delivers meals. He's out doing everything for the people, and we're really blessed to have someone like him to head up our police department. And all of our police officers are very much that way. And then, of course, you mentioned Mayor Rosas, who's a retired New York State trooper. And he has that ability to sit down and discuss and to listen to what people are saying. And those three young women, they were phenomenal.
They were. And, it's really an exciting part to look at, to see what our youth are, what we're looking forward to in the future. I've said it then, we're going to see those three ladies, whether it's in, Dunkirk City or Chautauqua County, New York State, or at the federal level. Their ability to bring people together in a way that is going to, move change forward bring about discussion, and it really, the respect, the people that were there, older people, all of us, obviously older than 3 seniors, but not in a disrespect.
Older people, PJ.
I was there. I'll include myself. Those are older. Older than those 3 young ladies, and the respect they had from their elders, and I think is important. And I think that's one of the keys to this is everybody looked at what they did. They could have been young, angry, as we've seen in other places throughout the country and even the world in other situations like this, where the youth sometimes, are a little bit more obstinate and they want to do their own thing. This group really sat down. These 3 young ladies really came about in a positive way. I've been lucky enough. I've worked with UNESCO, which is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. I've traveled to other countries and cultural exchanges through sport and other means. And when you listen to the diversity of other countries and other nationalities and races, it's interesting to see a lot of commonalities, a lot of concerns for human rights and the well-being of others. But what happens every single time that I've been part of something is that sitting down and talking, that uncomfortable comfort level you have to talk, and knowing that you may not see eye to eye. When you leave, you still may not agree on things, but at least you sit down and talk, and that's really what's key. And those 3 young ladies and the residents of our county have demonstrated that time and time again through the last couple of weeks and the protests and demonstrations that we've seen. So I really appreciate that people are doing the right thing and going about this in a very progressive and positive manner. Right.
And I think that's true, and we're very fortunate to have that kind of leadership, certainly with yourself and with Mayor Rosas and Sheriff Cotrone.
Yep.
Throughout the county, all of our police officers are great. Is there anything that's going on in the county that you think is important right now for our residents, for our people to know, to look forward to maybe? Any events that are not being canceled?
Well, I know the one thing we're looking at, there has been a lot that's been canceled, and that's very unfortunate. And, one of the items is still out there. The longest running rodeo east of the Mississippi is still moving forward. The Gary Rodeo is that they're the last bastion of an event this summer. And, to that, it's concerning that so many of those big events canceled. The offshore boat racing here, the 4th of July celebrations throughout, and that's challenging.
And I've said fair.
it. Oh yeah, the county fair. That's that's a big. And I said today, it's hard. Those decisions were not easy, and I know Dave Wilson and his staff with the county fair and their committee. It was very, very challenging. And this isn't, whether it's a county fair, the Lucy Fest, which is a huge influx of not only sales tax revenue but our bed tax. There's so many things. Not to mention, laughter makes people happy and it makes people healthier. So, not having that was a challenge. But that was all done again based on the information, the data was there, and let's not forget 145 plus years of Chautauqua institution. Is going to be stifled this year, and there no in-person performances or lectures. So when you think of what this pandemic has done, and how it stopped the world. They asked, there was a country song, "Where were you when the world stopped turning?" And September 11th. A lot of people, I remember March 15th very distinctly as when we paused, but pause, stop. I don't know which is the correct word, but we did slow down quite a bit. And, these last 3 months have been challenging, but, the people in Chautauqua County have been tremendous. We've gotten so many calls from people and concern. They're doing the right things, especially businesses. That electronic affirmation, what people don't see every day, and I get a report, are the affirmations, electronic affirmations that go to the state, and we're seeing 20 to 50 businesses a day signing that, so they're getting ready to open. They want to get moving, and I urge everybody, please get out and support local. It's critical. These people have been hanging on by a thread right now, and if we do care, everyone cares about our community, so get out and support those communities. The big box stores have had their go of it long enough. Support the local people, the local shops, the local businesses. I don't want to mention any one because I'm afraid I'll forget it, but there's so many. Really get out there and any local shop, restaurant, diner, eatery, retailer support.
We really do need to patronize our small business community, shop local, eat local, try to get those businesses back up.
2 weeks ago, I drove through, and the picnic tables were stacked down here at the pier, and it was great to come by today and see people out there eating and the shops going. So it's exciting. We're moving along, and the county's opening. So
right,
exciting.
and our pier is still a beautiful place to go. One last question: What about theaters, movie theaters?
I saw on television that AMC was going to be opening, but I haven't heard anything official through the state. Movie theaters are unique. I mean, I've been fortunate enough with my son. We've gone to see movies, and he and I have had a private viewing because we're the only ones there at an evening. So, some theaters do have larger numbers, but we'll wait and see. I'm constantly asking questions, pushing for answers in the control room. So, I think the more we move along, the better. At the very least, right now, movie theaters and larger venues are opening up in phase 4, and the numbers we see. The numbers we're looking at are improving day after day after day. Dr. Kane is in our control room. He's the dean of UB School of Medicine, and he reviews those numbers every day. One number we were looking at is the number of cases per 100,000 people. We are at about 5.5, 5.4. It was a concern by the statisticians and the epidemiologists that look at the entire region, every single region from there out in Minnesota and the Royal College of London. Those numbers concern them, but that wasn't really a huge concern. That number's dropped down to 4.5. So we dropped an entire 1%. So they're excited about that number, and that's the one that was close. That's dropped dramatically. So our numbers are looking good. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we're looking for phase 3 on Tuesday, and 2 weeks after that, phase 4, and really start to move our economy.
So let's hope. Fingers crossed, right? And even when we open up, we're going to still practice, social distancing. We're still going to be conservative in the way that we treat and meet with others. Certainly, so that's a big thing.
Respecting that 6 feet of space. That's what we're asking.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which we certainly try to do that. Executive Wendel, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It has been wonderful having you here. Please come back. Let us know what's going on. If there's something in the county that you want our residents to know, send it to us, and we'll put it up on the screen. Absolutely, we'll make that happen.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Garage sales, that's the new one.
Garage
sales this weekend.
Garage sales.
Yep.
Oh gosh, this whole weekend. Well, that'll be happening. That'll be great. Thank you for watching City Speaks. You can watch City Speaks daily at 3 and 10 on Spectrum 1301 in Dunkirk. You can catch it anytime on DunkirkAccess.com. Send an email if you have questions, comments, concerns to cityspeaks@cityofdunkirk.com. Snail mail, City Speaks, 342 Central Avenue, Dunkirk, New York, 14048. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you like. If you want to have someone that you want to have on, let me know. We'll be happy to invite them. And once again, certainly, there's an open invitation for any of our elected officials or business leaders who would like to come on City Speaks. Thank you, and thank you for watching City Speaks.